Um, so yeah, it's really lovely to be back. I've been away in British Columbia for a couple of weeks, and um, it's really lovely to be back. I feel very grateful that I have this community that I can look forward to connecting with, and I was thinking of what might be as we begin the autumn season, having passed the autumnal equinox, and we can see the seasons change. The days are getting shorter, the nights are getting longer, the coolness is coming, and the trees are just beginning to change color. Maybe you're in a different time zone, a different climate. I don't know where everybody's from, but here in Montreal, that's what's happening. And I thought it would be interesting to perhaps begin a series so that we can kind of have a framework. So it's not something that you need to attend every session, but I pasted in the chat a link to a PDF, which is a little mini book by Ajahn Sucitto. It's a compilation of some talks that he gave, and then he edited it with the help of a friend, Tisarana. Kitasaro, sorry. It was edited for, to make it more appropriate for written form, and it's on the parami, which are the perfections of the heart. And these are a series of teachings, of wonderful teachings. And I'm going to just offer a few thoughts about the parami in general and what they are. And then starting next week, there are 10 of them. Starting next week, we'll just move our way through them. And as I said, it will be, it won't, this PDF is free online. If it's available to you, you can read it. I'm going to really kind of draw from it in my teachings because I just find it so rich and well presented. So just to name what the parami are, they're qualities of the heart that we can bring into our practice, and they're especially suited for practice in daily life. But of course, we also into practice in our meditation. And these 10 are generosity, morality, renunciation, wisdom, energy, patience, truthfulness, resolve, kindness, and equanimity. So you'll notice that they overlap with other kind of frameworks for practice and for reflection and contemplation. And that's so true in Buddhism, that all of these frameworks, there are many overlapping pieces. Because there are just these key elements. So the subtitle of this book by Ajahn Sucitto are ways to cross life's floods. And and so what is being referred to as the floods? How are we crossing the floods? What does that mean, the floods? It sounds a little dangerous, doesn't it? And we sort of see pictures of flooding recently, and we see the power of these floods to carry away people and cars and houses. And so there's a power in these floods. So the floods in Buddhist teaching refers to these energies, these kind of elements that what are another word that's used is outflows. And in the Pali language, the language spoken at the time of the Buddha, the Pali language, they're called asavas or asawas. And they're energies that run underneath our stream of mental activity. So we may be thinking about something, we may be thinking about what we need to do. We may be thinking about something that happened previously. We may be thinking about ourselves. We may be thinking about a person. We may be thinking about a situation. And we mostly notice the content of the mind. We mostly notice what we're thinking, the words we're thinking. But actually, what's driving the thoughts are the energies underneath these outflows. And so it's really important for us to begin to become mindful of them, to bring them to a level of awareness that we can pay attention to them, and by paying attention to them, change our relationship to them so that we're not so much at the effect of them, but we are aware of them and able to, by not being pushed around by them, we can allow them to dissipate and redirect our energies. So what are these? There are 4 of these outflows. So one is the flow of sensuality. The pull of pleasant sensory experience. So we get caught up in wanting pleasant sensory experience, and we get caught up in not wanting unpleasant sensory experience. And often the way that we redirect our attention away from unpleasant sensory experience is by trying to connect to something pleasant, sensually pleasant. And the Buddha acknowledged that this is, this does, at least for a moment anyway, draw our attention away from what is unpleasant. So if we're feeling emotional unpleasantness, if we're feeling sad, if we're feeling lonely, if we're feeling discouraged, if we're feeling frustrated, if we're feeling angry, we might open the fridge, get lost in that world of, this tastes good. Or we might turn on a TV program and just get lost in that world of, fantasy or, some story. And it disconnects us temporarily from what is unpleasant. This, I'm not going to go into depth in each of these because, I just have a few minutes, and I also want to leave time for some questions. So we can see how addictions are very much a part of this kind of using pleasant experience to turn away from what is unpleasant, and just, wanting to inhabit that world of pleasant sensory experience, and perhaps get lost in it. So it takes us away from being present with the wholeness of our lives. It's okay to enjoy pleasant experience, but when we're continually drawn and getting carried away by sensory experiences, we're not attending to the wholeness of our hearts, our lives, our relationships, our deeper inner life of, where are we being called? What is important? What's a priority in our life right now? So sensuality is the first of these outflows. The second is becoming, what's called becoming. And becoming is all about identity. Like, I want to become this person, and it's connected to what we say, what we do, and it's also connected to time, so past and future. So we become what we think, we become what we say, we become what we do. When we hold on to a sense of identity through over time, and we can have all kinds of sense of identities. We can have identities that are connected to our families. We can have identities connected to our professions. We can have identities connected to our skills, and all of this is okay. It's not that it's bad to develop skills. It's not that it's bad to develop professional expertise, or to give time and attention to family. It's, or even to our spiritual life. We can be very identified with, becoming a good person, or a good meditator, or developing samadhi, or and so it's that sense of I amness, that we connect our sense of worth, our whole, the essence of who we are, to particularities of what we do and what we say. And of course, it's very shaky ground, because if I think that my identity is connected to be a good meditator or a good meditation teacher, then when somebody reflects back to me that they don't like something that I said as a meditation teacher, and I'm going to be really shaken up, right? Or somebody, if you're a therapist, or if you are a parent, and you're in a quandary about how to deal with a crisis in your family, or with your child, or your grandchild, or as an aunt or uncle, your niece or nephew, whatever, you're as a son or daughter, or a child relating to a parent, an adult child, you might, if you put your identity wrapped up in that, it's very shaky ground. So what we are, who we are, we can't pin it on this or that, or we do, but we it becomes very unstable and creates suffering, creates stress. So the third of the outflows are views, that we get attached to certain kinds of views. So, belief systems. So fundamentalist, belief systems, like we can see like fundamentalist Christian beliefs in creationism, which is threatened by science, or or the ideas of the apocalypse, that the world is going to end in some kind of way, and so it doesn't matter about the environmental, the climate crisis, because it's all in God's hands, and the world is going to come to this end anyway. And ways of classifying people as good or bad or inside or outside, based on different kinds of designations and prejudices and biases. So there are so many views, and they create an abstract framework for us to engage with life, and they separate us from our direct experience. So when we notice that, we have beliefs, and we're just kind of getting into our beliefs about men, about women, about old people, about, or elders, to use a more respectful word, about children, about people of certain ethnicities or languages or religions. We need to notice this and recognize that this is a source of suffering for ourselves and for others. It perpetuates division and suffering in the world, and closes us down and keeps us from being curious and asking, actually, what is the reality that is present in this moment? What am I actually encountering in a whole and deep way? And then the fourth, which is present in all of the preceding three, is ignorance. So ignorance is turning away from what is true, what is real, what is presenting itself. It's closing down our interest, closing down our curiosity, going back and retreating into, our, whether it's our sense of identity, or it's our beliefs, or it's our comfort zone, which might be pleasant sensations. And so, so the parami are ways of bringing ourselves into presence and cultivating these qualities, which are natural qualities. We all have the seeds of all of these 10 qualities of generosity, morality, renunciation, wisdom, energy, patience, truthfulness, resolve, kindness, and equanimity. We all have the seeds of these. We all have them. They're present within us to a certain extent. And in cultivating, cultivating them, they all bring us into relationship with reality, the larger world, which includes ourselves. in skillful ways which open our hearts. So generosity is the first, and I'm going to talk about that next week. But just in talking about these, that Ajahn Sucitto said we need to cultivate what he calls heedfulness, and I think is very close to mindfulness, but it's a different word in Pali. So it's a slightly different quality. The Pali language is so rich with these different nuances of mental qualities. So heedfulness is this unbiased attention that we pay to what is coming up in our inner experience and in the world around us. The Buddha always talks about being mindful internally and externally. And so cultivating each of these qualities, it will bring us into a more skillful relationship with our inner lives and our outer experience. So there's a little presentation. Maybe we can take just a few minutes. If you want to, either in the chat or out loud, you can unmute yourself. If you want to just respond with a question or a comment, you can, if this interests you or not, or some particular aspect interests you, anything kind of resonated, we can spend a few minutes and then we'll move on to our sit. So, and I'll just pause the taking your posture for meditation, whatever that may be, whether it's sitting or standing or lying down or even walking, if that seems most appropriate for you right now. Inviting attention into the body. And settling the mind, inviting the mind to be present. And we can enter in to this presence by any of the senses, any of the sense doors, particularly the five bodily senses: hearing, touching, feeling the pressure of the body on the cushion, whatever surface your body is in contact with the earth upon. The touch of the air on the skin, a sense of the coolness or the warmth of the air, the breath. All of these can be ways to just invite the mind to let go of the mental busyness, the chatter, and collect. And settle. perhaps we could bring a sense of gratitude for this body which is alive in this moment, breathing. Whatever the limitations, whatever the perhaps the discomforts or the disabilities, this body has also many abilities sufficient to be here, to attend, to intend. So gratitude for this life, this moment, this breath. And I invite you, if it seems appropriate for you in whatever way seems meaningful, to bring an intention which includes the service of others in our lives as we practice. So we practice for our own welfare and for the welfare of others as we become free in our hearts, in our minds, in our beings. We also become agents of peace, of love, and freedom in the world. Just by the quality of our presence, by the ways we respond. And may our meditation be dedicated to this evolving presence in the world, evolving blessing, presence of blessing. And we may collect the attention around the breath, feeling the whole in-breath. Wherever you feel it in the body, maybe it's a whole body experience, maybe it's more precise in the nostrils, or in the heart, or the abdomen. Feeling the whole inhalation, pause, the whole exhalation and the pause, the whole cycle of breath. Continually inviting the attention to gather and to collect, letting go of the fragmented, scattered mind bouncing off in all directions, gathering around the breath, around the body. And gradually, I invite you to widen your sense of awareness of the breath to a whole body awareness. So whether you do that now or later in the sit or in a different sitting, if collecting the attention around the breath or around a particular meditation object seems most skillful to you right now, then by all means, follow that sense of what's appropriate for yourself. And widening the attention to the whole body is an exploration of just including just a sense of there is a body, there is a body. It's a very soft sense of body, a sense of body as permeable, soft edges, not something hard, solid, something dynamic, something breathing, something energetic. Something which is grounding. A quality of presence, a body which is alive. Bringing your attention, your awareness into the whole body for these last few minutes of the sitting. I invite you to, if you're using a particular object, I invite you to open up and have a sense of this, the whole body, sitting or standing or lying down. So this would be just having a sense of the comportment, the shape of the body, and also that's proprioception and inhabiting it from the inside. So that's interoception, sensing all the different vibrations, sensations, and so on in the inside of the body. And using your imagination, your capacity to visualize, I invite you to, starting at the heart, have a sense of light at the center of the body, the heart center, radiating outwards and filling the whole body and extending beyond the body. And the quality of that light can be love or joy, compassion, sense of connection. The quality of that love is warmth. It's a warm quality to that love, to that light. Explore that, not with a sense of it has to be perfect or it has to be a certain way, but how does it show up in your experience? And what do you notice? And maybe there are some places in the body that are in shadow. Maybe there are some places in the body that feel a bit disconnected. That's okay. That's normal. That's not bad. It's not about getting it perfect. It's about just inviting this quality of warmth and connection, manifesting as light to shine, to radiate in you and through you without limiting it. So it's not that it has to go any particular distance, measurable, but just not limiting it, allowing it to just radiate by itself, not pushing it, just noticing what happens as you visualize light. Light which carries with it the warmth of your connection to life. And as we complete our practice, I invite you to join me in dedicating the blessings, the goodness of our practice. The goodness that we can directly experience in whatever shift may have occurred, a bit more calmness, a bit more relaxed, a bit more ease, a bit more warmth, whatever goodness may have arisen in the course of this practice, that we dedicate it to the benefit of all, for our practice and our daily lives. May they serve the happiness, well-being, and liberation of all beings everywhere. So thank you. I know we went a few minutes over. I don't know if you know that there's a fundraiser that's happening today for True North Insight. I think it starts at 1. And you can jump right onto that if you want. So it's with James Barras. It's called Awakening Joy, and he's a wonderful teacher. So for your interest, and anyone who would like to stay a bit longer, please do. We'll stay for about 20 minutes, and for those of you who are going to leave, need to leave, want to leave, thank you for coming. And your support, whatever support you can give by way of Donna, is very deeply appreciated. So thank you for that. So if you're signing off, please feel free to unmute yourself and just
thank you.
Sign off. My dashboard is not showing up. Oh, here we go.
Thank you. Goodbye.
You. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Caroline.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Nice to see everybody. Nice to be back.
Yes, nice to see you. And thanks for co-hosting.
It was quite challenging.
But you were up to it.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. So okay. Are you staying? Everybody else staying? Yeah, great. So Melanie and Geneviève and Louise. Oh, you're leaving? Melanie?
I'm leaving. I have to go. Okay. Have a good week. Thank you to all.
Oh,
bye.
Oh, I forgot to end the. Sorry.